This is the 22nd season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live. We're going to talk about bass fishing. We have our first, I love these shows where I get guys on and I don't know much about them, and then we learn about them. I'm thinking one of the first ones that I remember, and this was back when Jeffries was Andrew Loberg out of California. You maybe had heard a little bit about him. He'd had some success, and we had him on BTL. You learn their backstories, you learn where they come from, what makes them tick. And I enjoy those shows. I mean, they're not salacious, hey, we're rule breaking and stuff, but they're the shows that introduce you to new anglers that you can become fans of, that you can follow on specific trails and tours, to where instead of just seeing one of 150 names on a list, you can put a story behind it. You can put some personality behind it. And I mean, let's be honest, it's weird in the sport of fishing, to be rooting for another dude to be catching a fish on a lake that you've never been to. So you're really not just rooting for people, you're rooting for the individuals, the stories behind their individual in the stories behind that individual, and then their whole kind of career arc. I think that's why guys who talk a lot are very vocal, who they really kind of share their stories, open their heart out, pour their hearts out on it. I think that's why those guys typically have a big fan base, is because there's that human element to it. So we're going to get to know Riley Nielsen today, and he, in his very young fishing career, has had a lot of ups, and I don't know if I'd call it a down. Let's call it a close call. And he actually, when I said, man, I like it when guys reach out and are hey, I think I got a good story. And I know I've got some others in the inbox. I'm horrible about responding to emails. I take screenshots of it, and I'm going to try to get back to it. But he's got a very interesting story I don't want to call it of near misses. Is that a fair way to describe it, Riley?
It was just a good opportunity, man. I'm not even upset about it. I'm just happy I did that well.
Riley Nielsen, thank you for jumping on BTL. I appreciate it. 22 years old, from Utah. That's where you're from, right?
Correct. Yeah, I was born and raised in Salt Lake City, so the skiing mecca of the world.
So how did you get into bass fishing being in Salt Lake City, Utah?
I was lucky, man. My dad did it a lot. He did it kind of professionally when I was a lot younger. He won the U.S. Open one year. And
wait, what's your dad's name?
Scott Nielsen.
I thought your name sounded familiar, but I thought it was the Nielsen ratings. And I asked you that before the show, and you had no idea what the Nielsen ratings were. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm officially old. I guarantee everybody everybody watching this knows what the Nielsen ratings are. Take a guess on what the Nielsen ratings are, Riley Nielsen.
I don't even want to take a guess, man.
Take a guess. That's how BTL works.
I'm going to guess, I don't even know, something where you rate the certain Nielsen's. I don't know. Maybe it's a Mormon thing.
No. It is where Nielsen ratings are the TV ratings that determine who is watching what channel of TV. So each show would then have the Nielsen ratings. So it would almost be views on YouTube, so to speak now.
Okay.
But before that, there is no way to tell who was watching what and for how long, for advertisers to put their ad dollars. So what the Nielsen ratings did was they went in and they basically said, this is who is watching this, the demographics, for how long, for how much. I'm sure they still do it.
Yeah.
So that's the Nielsen ratings. But I would have thought that and then that's, I said, then they'd give you a crisp $1 if you fill out the survey. There used to be a part of it, I think I'm right on this, where they would come in and put a box in your house or something like that, or you would agree to be a part of the Nielsen ratings, and then they would basically like chart out your TV viewing habits. Do you have you ever had like cable TV in your entire life?
When I was younger, but then when I was about 10 or so, we got rid of it in the family. So I really haven't watched much cable other than like sports games and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you ever had a landline?
Yeah, when I was really young, but I never probably was allowed to use it.
What was your first model cell phone?
I did get an iPhone as my first cell phone, but it was like, I don't know, maybe like the 4 or the 5, like when
Oh my
iPhones
gosh.
first started coming out, and you had like the push button, and then my parents made me get like one of them otter boxes on it because I'd always drop it and stuff like that and break it.
All right. Anyway, so do you remember what year your dad won the US Open in?
2006.
Okay.
That
So
was
that's
back
not,
when it was like on Lake Mead and stuff like that.
yeah, and you were born in
2003.
So you were 3 years old when he won the US Open.
Yeah,
so you
I don't really
literally
remember
like
it.
grew up in a hardcore tournament family.
Yeah, he did it for a while. He did it before I was born too. And then when I started growing up, he kind of stopped doing a little bit more to hang out with me. And I was lucky enough that he took me fishing. But to be honest with you, Matt, when I was a little kid, he'd take me fishing and I could absolutely care less about it. Like I would fish for 20, 30 minutes and I'd sit in the bottom of the boat and eat crackers and cookies and stuff like that. And I never really cared about it when I was little. I just never really cared.
So when did you start caring then?
It happened one day. Me and him were fishing a little tournament, and we get like tournaments back in Utah, but they're not very big. And we were fishing like a little tournament. It was a 2-day tournament. We did pretty good the first day, and the second day we were like sucking so bad. And I didn't even I threw a Senko. That's all I threw when I was a kid. I didn't know how to throw anything else, and the wind started blowing, and Dad told me to pick up a spinnerbait. Didn't even know what I was doing. And I remember rolling it off a rock, and I killed it, and then I got a very aggressive bite. And ever since, it was a great big one for the lake that we were fishing at. And ever since that bite hooked me. I'll never forget that bite. It was awesome. I had no idea what I was doing. I was throwing a spinnerbait on 12-pound line in like 3 or 4 foot of water on a little rod, but lucky to get it in. And that bite hooked me. I haven't looked back since. And that was probably 4-ish years ago now, maybe a little bit more.
Oh, so you're somewhat kind of new to the tournament scene then. Did you do any no high school, no juniors, no college fishing?
Where I lived, we never had that. We had 13 boat tournaments on a Saturday, and that's it. On these little lakes where if you catch 9 pounds, you are doing it. It's just not a big thing in Utah, I mean, we got the Colorado River. That was about 5 hours from my house. And there were some little bit better tournaments on there on Lake Powell and Lake Mead and stuff like that. But just around the ones local in Salt Lake, it's just not a big deal. There's no real bass fishermen in Utah. It's just not a thing,
Yeah. But I mean, your dad always had a bass boat. You were always comfortable. As a kid, did you know how to run a bass boat, load it, unload it, that type of thing? Because that's what kind of blows my mind with the young 20-somethings is I know how long it took me to get comfortable, dumping in on Thousand Islands and being yeah, let's ride the troughs out to the islands. And then I think back of some of the things, and I was I can't tell you how many times when I was 25 to 35, even now, I'll get out there and I'll be I kind of want no part of that. Or I'll be cautious about it. But then you see guys that are your age. I mean, Trey McKinney's and stuff who are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, just running stuff like veterans. I've always been curious on how you get good behind the wheel so young.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I went out with my dad a lot, he would always dump me in, and I would never run the big motor. I just run the trolling motor when he would dump me in, and then I kind of graduated to the big motor. And I don't know. I just think a lot of it was trial and error. I mean, he would kind of teach me, letting me drive around and go 20 miles an hour and then 30 miles an hour and then 40 miles an hour, but he would never, honestly, Dad would never let me drive fast. So I remember my first tournament as a boater, I really didn't even know how to drive a boat fast. I didn't know how to trim it up all the way and let her go. And my buddy from Colorado was like, the night before, he's like, yeah, you just got to hold the trim up till it quits trimming up and just let her go, you know?
Yeah.
And so a lot of it, honestly, Matt, was trial and error. And then running the rough water still was a little bit trial and error because we don't get that big of water back home. We have like all the mountains and stuff like that, and that blocks a lot of the wind. So like my first tournament as a going out big time was at Rayburn, and I remember I was a little bit like I just didn't know what I was doing out there. Honestly, with the rougher water, I just took her slow. I was just like
this past year Rayburn, like 2024, 2025 Rayburn.
No, that was the year before this 2024 Rayburn. That was a Toyota series.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rayburn's when that wind is ripping in there down by the dam, and you're like heading out. It's not a fun. That is not a fun. Yeah, not a fun really ride.
Lake. But it's just been trial and error out there. I mean, I honestly feel very comfortable in a boat now, but a lot of it was trial and error for me.
So, like, your dad fished all the Western Invitationals, the tour for a long time, fishing a Bassmaster Classic, won the U.S. Open.
Yeah, he was very accomplished for a guy in Utah. And he's taught me everything about power fishing and stuff like that. But when it comes to electronics and finesse fishing, I mean, he doesn't even hardly ever throw a spin stick, and he doesn't even on his boat. He doesn't even know how to turn on his electronics hardly. So kind of all that was just learning it on my own. But
still fishes though.
He still fishes. He actually he signed up for the division of the Opens this year just to kind of come hang out with us and be along for the ride. So I'm kind of excited to see.
So you're fishing a division of the. We'll get into all this because you have a crazy. But you're fishing a division of the Opens with your pops. Is it the Rayburn division again?
Yep. I'm pretty pumped to see him out there. He ain't going to be out there live scoping, but he'll be out there throwing his crankbait on the bank. So is this the
first, I guess, like national trail he's fished in 20 years?
Yeah, pretty much.
How'd that conversation go? Was that your idea or his idea?
It was so weird, Matt. Like we were talking about fishing that dual threat deal together, you know, and we were talking about it right before that last EQ at Okeechobee. And then I was like, well, we'll just talk about it after the tournament. And I fished the Okeechobee tournament. I remember I was driving home back to Alabama from the EQ at Okeechobee, and I just get a screenshot from him. And I open it up, and it shows where he signed up for the Opens. I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess we're doing it."
So it wasn't like a well thought out strategy.
No,
that's gotta be. So was he like calling you last year as you were like going through the EQs and in the top 10 in the points and all that, and like after every day, like following it on live and watching the weigh-ins and all that?
Oh yeah, I remember. I call him every morning before the tournament, every morning before practice, every morning after practice. My favorite thing was when I had a good bag, I'd throw my boat number in and check in, and then I'd idle in to go weigh in. That was always my favorite thing, to call him and tell him I did good. He usually knew I sucked because I would never call him.
Well, we're going to go into this though. You like never sucked.
I would have a bad day. Like most of my gooder tournaments, like my okay tournaments, usually the first day sucked, and then I rallied the second day.
So I'm looking at your stats here. So 22, 23 were those. So like the Bass Nation Championship, is that front of the boat or,
that was at Lake Powell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was front of the boat. That's like, if you're going to call my home lake, that was my home lake, even though I was 5 hours from my house. That's like where I grew up fishing the most, and still by far my favorite lake. So I feel very comfortable on that lake, and it never really changes, even though the lake drops all the time. But you kind of throw the same lures all the time, and you kind of catch them. You just got to be around them. You got to go find out where they move to, because the lake drops 20, 30 feet a year.
So you jump in the Opens. This is your first year full of the Bassmaster Opens, and you have a really strong division in what is the craziest season that I've ever seen in my life. We had 2 one-day tournaments, 1 2-day tournament. The one that got 3 days in, it was just nasty weather there on Kentucky Lake. And you go 24th at Rayburn, 49th at Kentucky, 7th at Norfolk. Did you stop fishing at Norfolk, or did you fish through the Lightning? I feel like all the under 30-year-olds that I saw running past were all fishing in the Lightning. I was sitting under off limits marina dock for like 3 hours that morning.
Where I was at Norfolk, I never had it that bad. I actually caught them pretty quick that day at Norfolk, and I was by myself. So I kind of quit fishing that area because I knew I could catch them the next day there. I kind of wish I pounded on them. So I kind of just meandered my way around the lake and kind of practiced for the next day. Obviously, we never got a next day, so I didn't quit fishing, but I kind of quit fishing my good area, if that makes sense.
Was that a minnow derb for you?
Actually, it was funny, Matt. I was going to go up the river, kind of where Randall Tharp did it a couple years ago or whatever. I had a great practice up there, shaking off a lot of fish. And so I pulled like 6 jigs out of my rod locker, and I was waiting for my boat number. And I kind of had a gut feeling just to go throw a minnow for an hour and just go do it because the minnow bite was pretty good in the morning. And so I tied me on a minnow real quick while I was waiting for my boat number. I dropped my trolling motor, and just the way it was pointed when I dropped it, there was one, and that turned into like a 4.5 pounder.
Oh, that was that's like catching
right
a
off the
9
bat.
pounder anywhere else in that derb.
I couldn't believe it. And then so I started doing that, and I caught 4 pretty decent ones right after that, and I started calling a little bit. And I thought I had like 11 pounds, and I threw them all on the Bubba to try to figure out where I was at, and I was like 1480, and I was like, wow, okay, we're good. We're fine.
Yeah, and then you went up to Leech. Which did Leech seem somewhat familiar to you, being west with Rock and Boulder and Smallmouth, or was that like a completely different world to you up north?
Completely different. Out west, we kind of just fish the bank a lot more. And there in Leech, you're obviously out in the ocean. I went pre-practice Leech and hung out with Dad and learned what it was supposed to be like. And I felt really comfortable at Leech. Leech was probably my most comfortable tournament of the year, but it was actually my worst finish. I don't know why, but I went out and did this.
By the way, is not a bad finish in the Bassmaster Opens that have over 200 boats in them. I just would like to point out for those that haven't looked up your stats, your finishes in these 4 tournaments that we're talking about: 49th, 7th, 55th.
Yeah, I was
24th, 49th, 7th, 55th. So yeah. Anyway, back to Leech.
I just went and did the smallmouth deal both days. I actually. Both days, I called maybe 10 times, which is huge at Leech catching smallmouth.
You called the second day 10 times in that wind?
Probably. Mm-hmm.
In the big lake?
Yeah, in the big lake. Like, I don't know what I was just kind of flying on the seat of my pants on instinct. I had a bunch of rocks marked, and I never went – I pre-practiced, like, where it went down the year before and, like, knew that it was going to get hammered, and I knew it was going to get hammered. So I didn't even care to go practice that stuff. And I kind of went and tried to find my own stuff, and it worked okay. But with the wind on that second day, I remember there was nobody out there other than idiots like me, just like riding the waves.
That's why I was impressed that you caught that many. I was out there, and Koya was out there, and you would see him occasionally when he bobbed up. But like
that was
I
me,
got out there, bungee corded myself to my seat, and threw a jig at rocks for 6 hours. Had 4 bites, put all 4 in the boat. They were 4 for 15 pounds, and then spent 45 minutes getting in. But I was impressed that you were able to get bites.
I was just out there throwing a minnow at them rocks. I mean, a lot of it honestly was luck, Matt. I remember I caught one on the second day, and I'm like eating them over the front of my boat, and I'm trying to find my lure, and I can't even find my lure. I thought I cast it 18 feet off to the side. And so I start burning it in, and I already have one on just off the falling. And I was like, okay, this is lucky. But I just went out there to those like areas that got pounded and caught them. And I remember too, like the Easton Fothergill spot in between the island, how many people fished that was stupid. But on the second day that nobody fished it, and I was like, I just gotta go try it for a minute. So I pulled down, waves are rolling over the back of my boat. Literally rolling over the back of my boat, and I caught 2 there that were nice ones too. And I was just like, I don't know. I just went out there and went fishing and flew by the seat of my pants. And I never did the largemouth thing. Never did it.
So, I mean, you were pretty much locked in to the EQs unless you like zeroed Leech. So you knew that, mission 1 was to, I mean, what were you fishing the Opens for? Was it to make the Elite Series? Was it for experience? Was it to get what was the game plan going into the season?
I signed up for it, Matt. I did not think one bit I belonged there, not a single bit. And I just went there. Honestly, I didn't know how to get better other than to go get my teeth kicked in and learn. And that's the only reason I signed up for them. I just wanted to get better at the game of fishing. and I signed up for them just to get better. That's the only reason I signed up for them. I didn't even think, honestly, I'd been happy if I made the EQs. Like, I didn't even think I could like compete at that level. And at Rayburn, I thought that was a Rayburn I'm comfortable with, but it was just like, okay, well, you caught him at Rayburn, but Kentucky Lake, I don't know. And then I go to Kentucky and I did okay. And then Norfolk was so unexpected. And then once Norfolk started happening, I felt like I can kind of start competing against those guys a little bit better. And my mindset changed after Norfolk to like, hey, maybe you should just focus up and see what the heck you can do out of this opportunity you're starting to create for yourself.
Was your dad like super pumped when you were like headed to the EQs?
Oh yeah, he was super pumped. He's always been fired up for me. I don't even think Dad thought I was going to do this good this year either. I think he was kind of with it with me just to go sign up for him and go learn and get your teeth kicked in and go do what you can. But he's been a big supporter of mine, just always checking in and see what's going on, you know.
Yeah. So middle of the field at Champlain, then 28th at Wheeler. I would imagine going into the final EQ on Okeechobee, you really didn't feel much pressure.
None at all. None at all. I knew I was going to have to win Okeechobee to even have a prayer. And I'd never been to Florida in my life until that week at Okeechobee. So I didn't go down in pre-practice. I just kind of went down there and just went fishing and did my thing.
Did you end up doing the canal thing? I
did not. I stayed on the lake. I went and practiced the canals because the weather was terrible in practice, and I had a great practice in them. Honestly, I don't know why I didn't go in there. I felt like if I could get 5 in there, I'd do fine. But honestly, I didn't think I can get 5 in there. And I was still going to go do the canal thing, but I just had a gut to tell me to stay on the lake, you know, because I had a really good first day of practice out on the lake, doing something that I don't think a lot of competitors would have been doing at all, and then ended up having no competitors around me, and it was all by myself the whole time.
And then when did you realize, my God, I have a shot at this thing? Maybe like when the points updated after the first day or second day, or like when?
No, I never even thought I had a chance, Matt. Like, I went in on the first day, I only had like 9-something pounds at Okeechobee. And then I went out the second day, did the exact same thing and caught 16, I can't remember, 15, 16 pounds, something like that. Didn't even think I was going to make the cut. And I also got lucky making the cut. You know the story on that. But I was just happy to get out of there. I was like, well, I'll get a little bit of money and then go. And then once I realized I was so close to this, and I was like sitting there watching the top 10, and I got booted out the last second to 11th by an ounce or 2 ounces. And I was pretty upset. I was like happy, but like, you know how it is. Like, you wanted to make the top 10 if you're that close. And I was sitting in the boat, hanging out with my buddy and putting my rods away. And then I got a phone call saying I was going fishing in 11th place on the last day.
Yeah. So there was an angler that had some issues with a truth verification test, but Bass allows you to fish under appeal. So that angler fished under appeal, which then allowed you to jump up into 10th and fish. And then you went out and dropped a 20 rack on him on the third day.
Correct. It's like that 20 pounds was a nutshell of everything I learned this year fishing the opens. Like, the EQs are a little bit different because they don't have as many boats as the regular opens, but kind of the biggest thing I've learned in the regular opens is you're probably most likely not going to get to do what you want to do because there's so many guys out there. So you just kind of have to have a super open mind and kind of just go out there and go fishing. And I remember on the second day I was driving into weigh-in, and I seen like a Thule patch that I kind of got really good at looking like what Thules they wanted to be on and what Thules they didn't want to be on. And I seen like a really good looking patch when I was driving in that looked just right. And I didn't get to fish it on the second day because I didn't have enough time. But I started there on the last day and caught a 5 and a 4 within like 10 minutes. And that really like got my day going at Okeechobee on the last day. And that was like, that's what was so cool to me, Matt. It wasn't like I caught 20 pounds, but it was like I just got really in tune with those fish for that week and knew what they wanted to be around. And kind of, I couldn't call my shot, but I could be like, okay, there's probably some here versus going to a different area that didn't look right and I wouldn't get a bite.
Long story short, you finished 11th. Brock Rankemeyer ended up in 10th. So I'm looking at that gap. So you had 218 points. He had 223. Even if you had won on Okeechobee, you'd have been 1 point short, right?
Right.
Did that like help kind of reduce the sting a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the sting, Matt. Like, yeah, it sucks, but like I'm just so happy to be at that position that I didn't even expect it one bit. Like, obviously I made some mistakes in the EQs looking back at it now that I realize that would have given me a better shot to make it up there. But I'm not even mad about them. I'd rather just take those blows and learn from my mistakes and then go back out there next year and hope, because I just feel like in fishing, you either win or you learn, or you win and learn, but you never lose. If you lose, then that's your problem. Like, you should at least pick something up from it to take it to the next derby.
So I've been on board. I've talked about this where they're saying, how do the young 20-year-olds, 20 to 25, get so good so fast? And I have always been a big proponent of the time on the water, as far as, hey, you're fishing 6-7 days in a row, 30, 40 days straight, traveling around the country, living out of the back of the truck. People want to put it on the black box and the 19 and 16 and 17-inch screens, which definitely have changed the game, but there is no substitute for time on the water. And when you have a young, moldable mind and then you stack productive on the water experiences together, your learning skyrockets. I know you're in Alabama now, but I mean, being in Utah and all that, like, what is your time on the water, behind the wheel, and on the front deck of your boat look like for the last 2 or 3 years?
The biggest thing, Matt, is when I lay in bed every night, I watch every fishing video I can. Like, the biggest thing that's helped me the most is I'll sit through the 4 to 5 hours of Bass Live, and I won't watch them all in a night, but I'll like watch an hour of it and then the next hour, and like, because I can't go fishing a lot of times in Utah. And so, like, if I'm going to do something, it's like watching stuff like that. Because you can watch the 20, 30-minute videos everyone puts on YouTube, and they help, don't get me wrong, but those are just the highlights. Like, if you watch Bass Live, you get to watch, like, the lowlights. And a lot of times the lowlights, to me, are the highlights, because then you can, like, pick up little things that they're going through as well to try to figure out how to go catch one, what they're doing, what they're fishing, and like how they change throughout the day as well. So that's a big thing for me. I try to fish as much as I can. Helps now that I've moved to Alabama, and don't get me wrong, time on the water is everything. And I just feel like when I watch those Bass Lives, I get ideas, and I kind of get to speed through my time on the water to make it more productive than me trying to learn is kind of been the biggest point for me. But honestly, watching Bass Live, and people, it's boring. Don't get me wrong. It sucks. Like, a lot of it sucks, but you got to just power through and do it. And
so you're not fast forwarding to the fish catches. You're literally focusing and saying, okay, regardless of what fishery's on, you're picking up little nuances that they're doing when they're not catching fish that generate bites. How much has the screen sharing helped in your learning curve through Bass Live over the last year?
What do you mean by the screen sharing?
Like, to where you can actually see, like, the live scope screen or the forward facing sonar screen on the screen. Does that help at all? Or what are you focusing on? Like, what they're doing, what they're saying, like how they're doing it?
I focus on everything, but the screen sharing has been huge to me. Cause, like, like, as best as anything, like, for me, when I go to a new lake and I start staring at live scope, it honestly takes me a full day to, like, figure out what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Because all these lakes got different kinds of trash fish, and I just feel like the bass always look a little bit different in every lake that you go to. I remember at Leech when they showed Easton Fothergill's screen when he was fishing in between those two islands. That was like a giant learning curve for me, because I just got an idea of what I'm looking at on Leech now. And when they showed Tristan McCormick's screen at Leech, I got an idea, okay, so there's obviously giant boulders. There's boulders everywhere, but he's trying to fish these ones that are taller. And that was huge to me to learn too. So the screen sharing is massive. I wish they did it more, honestly, especially when you go to like the Great Lakes and stuff like that. It's kind of boring to watch a guy just out there in the middle of the ocean and throwing a spinny pole, and all of a sudden you hear drag slipping. I feel like they should show that more. And it's great for just people that are like trying to learn too. Like, that's me. I was just trying to learn, and wish they'd show that more. But the screen sharing's huge. I just think it's like, I love watching the ones that are before live scope or not, like when live scope wasn't so dominated, when they're just power fishing and like trying to just see like, why are they fishing this grass instead of this grass? Why are they throwing this lure instead of this lure? And like, what are they doing to generate bites? And a lot of times they'll kind of talk about it on live. Who knows if they're full of junk or not? They might be lying to you, but still, it's been a big help for me just to kind of learn that stuff. But I won't ever fast forward through it other than the commercials. That's the only time I fast forward through the Bass Live stuff.
All right. I just have some questions of how the logistics work on this. So Utah opens, EQs, and then a move to Alabama. Are we like working in here? Are we living on opens earnings? I mean, it's not none of our business or anything, but like, how do the logistics work on that? Like, where are we in Alabama? Are we there permanently? Is it like a fishing house? Like,
so what got me going in fishing, what funded my fishing is I don't have any sponsors. So I had a landscaping company in Utah.
Okay.
I was very lucky to have some great employees that kind of let me go do it. I don't know if they really knew I was doing it, to be honest with you, but I was just out there fishing. And
I mean, you have to bust your ass to do a landscaping company. I mean, that's like long days.
It was, yeah. I dropped out of college and I started that, and I did it all by myself for 2 years. And then I got lucky and I met some people that taught me a lot about it, and just kind of started hiring employees. And once I started hiring employees, it made it so much easier for me once I kind of got a trust in them to kind of go out there and go fishing more and stay back in this part of the world, because we only did the maintenance side of it. We never did the installs. So like, it was really hard for someone to go screw up mowing a lawn and cutting some trees down, because like that's pretty simple stuff.
You've never hung out with me, Riley.
Well, you're not hired then.
No.
But I just sold that in Utah, so I could come out here. And I think what I'll probably end up doing again is just starting it here in Alabama. That way, because I mean, obviously, fishing, you can't do it off innings. It's impossible. So we'll just do it off the landscaping side for a couple of years and kind of see how it goes. But I'm living right next to Gunnersville now, in a small town called Grant. And I couldn't ask for more, Matt. I really love it here.
Have you God, I don't know how many years ago it was now, 7-8 years ago maybe. Have you seen the 20 Feet Deep documentary that we did with Bassone called The Gunnersville Effect?
I haven't. No. Do I need to watch that?
Dude, it's literally it was after. So like Kevin Hawk had won the Forrest Wood Cup and moved there. Lucas had just moved there. Remitz had moved there. Duckett had moved there. All of the guys that had moved there, and Matt Lee, Jordan Lee, all those guys. And like, there were like a Cup champ and Randy Howell had moved there. So there were like 4 or 5 classic champs and then a Forrest Wood Cup champ that had all moved to Gunnersville recently. And I like went and did interviews, spent a whole week down there as to why they moved to Gunnersville, what it was, got on the water, hung out with all of them, got all the guys together with the 4 classic trophies all in one shot and stuff. Yeah, it's on Bass here. It's on hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah. Here it is right here. I was like super pumped to do this. Like, this was like a passion project. I mean, it's like very poorly filmed and edited, but back then it was cool. But you could see it like literally talks about all of this stuff, goes through like the history of Gunnersville. That's the Charles Burtis. I think he's since passed away, but he's the one who caught the lake record out there. We talked to the mayor, talked to Rick, Kevin Hawk. There's a young Justin Lucas, Boyd Duckett, Randy Howell. There's one shot in here. I wonder if we can. Oh, yeah. Look at that shot right there.
That's an awesome picture.
That's freaking sick to get all them together cool. Like that. Yeah, check it out. But that was back when it was when when did that go out? That was 7 years ago.
Yeah,
December 26, 2018.
I wasn't even really into bass fishing back then, but it's what got me out here is like I was always set on Texas. But it wasn't near a big enough town where I could do another landscaping company. And I honestly didn't know. So one night I pull up ChatGPT and I'm like, hey, where can I move to where I can fish every day, have something awesome in my backyard, but still have a big enough town to do landscaping close by? And it came up with a couple places like Chattanooga was one, Knoxville was one, Huntsville was one. And I ended up choosing kind of Huntsville, but more. I mean, I'm still about 30 minutes from Huntsville, but honestly, ChatGPT kind of got me out here more than anything, or got my eyes put onto it before I started coming out here and realizing how much I liked it.
I for the first time in BTL history, I'm not sure where to go after this. So you're in Grant, Alabama with ChatGPT.
Yeah, well, that's one of my nicknames. Is I got a couple nicknames from the buddies I do the fishing with, but Chat's one of them, and Glitch is one of them, and 12-year-old's one of them.
Are you into the? I know that there's some guys who are doing videos on this now. Are you into like the Chat GPT to help you prepare for tournaments?
No, I used to be this year a little bit, but it's never really helped me out that much. I did ask it a couple times, but I don't know. I'm not really into it. I don't really ask it that much anymore. I feel like a lot of the information's wild on it.
I don't know if I believe you on that.
It's never. I
agree. So the way I do it, the way I'm thinking of it is, I think that the evolution of the sport, the rapid evolution of the sport, saves it from the technology, because it can only base on what past information it can draw on, and as it's evolving so rapidly, it's no longer relevant. Like if the sport never evolved, then it would be scary how good it could be. But because everything is always changing, baits are always changing, techniques, especially over the past 3 to 5 years, I feel like all that tech, not all of it, but a lot of like the Chat GPT, that type of stuff is drawing on a lot of information prior to the last couple years, which makes it basically obsolete or not as relevant as it could be.
Yeah, it might get better. I don't know. I remember I asked it at Rayburn, and it gave me like a couple things to do at Rayburn, what you're supposed to, like drag a Carolina rig, throw a crankbait on the hard spots, but it never was like go out in the middle of the lake and throw at dots with a minnow. It never told me that. And like obviously at Rayburn, that's the freaking jam.
Yeah. So you're in it, you're fishing the opens again with your dad, but then you also just said, screw it, let's jump in the pro circuit as well.
I wasn't going to do it, but one of my best buddies I do this fishing with, his name's Ty Faber. He's been doing it a couple of years. He's doing them, and he kind of convinced me to do them. So I was just like, heck with it, I'll do it. The only reason I did it is because the payouts are a little bit better on them this year. And I just wanted more experience fishing, more time on the water, as we should say. And I learned so much when I fish tournaments. I just fished a tournament on Gunnersville the other day that was a 2-boat derby.
Wait, that's not a tournament. That's just you and your buddy.
And I felt like I learned more that day than I did.
What did you show up and just 2 people showed up, or did you just meet your buddy at the ramp?
We just met our buddy. Like Adam Rasmussen was here for a couple of days before he went to Florida, and he's like, "Let's do a $100 derby."
That's the Minnesota dude.
Wisconsin
dude. Rappler Rap, right?
Yeah.
Or Crush City?
No, it's Soda Sense and Crush City.
Yeah. How'd you meet him?
Through a friend of a friend, kind of twice. I met him once this year at Rayburn, and then kind of where I'm staying right now in Grant. He's really good buddies with another really good buddy. I don't know if you know Keith Tripp, but he's like the Phoenix rep out here, and that's kind of who I got linked up with.
Okay. Didn't he catch like a 14.5 pounder at Rayburn during practice last year?
Yeah. He said he caught it on a jerk bait. He didn't even know what it was when he threw at it, and he still didn't even know what it was until he got up to the side of the boat, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, so that was absolutely wild. So I pieced it together. So on that day of practice, on that exact window, when he caught that fish, I caught a 10 on a minnow, and then I called Cranford to be like, oh my God, I just caught a giant. And he was like, I can't talk, bud. I got a 12. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm holding a damn 12-pounder right now. And he FaceTimes me, and I let mine go, and he's holding a 12. And then after the tournament, I'm telling another buddy about it. And he's like, well, what day of practice was it? And I was like looking, I said, well, he sent me a picture of that 12 after he caught it. So I was like, it was this day of practice at this time. And he goes back through his phone and he's like, Rasmussen called me at this time to tell me he caught a 14-pounder. And in a 15-minute span, just the 3 that I know about, that 14, a 12, and a 10 were all caught on different parts of the lake doing different types of stuff. A window opened and just bam, giant. And I don't know who else in the field like caught, gigantors during that time too, but it was the wildest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, my buddy caught a 10-pounder that day too, and he called me. I was on the phone with him, and he's like, oh my gosh, I got a grown one.
Yeah, so that's 4, like, who knows? I mean, that had to be some sort of like magic Rick Clunn, moon aligning with the stars, pressure system, whatever you want to say, window that opened up. But like there was like a 2-hour gigantor feeding window during that day of practice.
Yeah, I don't understand. I'm not that good at understanding fish that much. So I don't know what causes all that stuff, but that's just pretty cool to me. I don't understand. That's another thing about live too. You watch live, I feel like they catch them in a window and then they all suck again, and then they catch them in a window and then they all suck again.
100%. You can tell like when and it's so weird how that happens. I don't think anybody has you have to fish if you're in tournaments, right? So it's not like you can be like, oh, sucky window, let's go power pole down in a quiet cove for 2 hours. Like you still have to grind it out. But I think that might be one of the last like untapped horizons in the sport. Like it's weird how you have certain people that are really into solar lunar tables and feeding windows and pressure deals and all that stuff. And then other guys who have won gigantic tournaments and longtime pros that are like, that's all crap. You got to fish anyway and stuff. But I don't know. I go back and forth between like, we're making it too complicated and it's time to really dig in on that stuff and try to identify feeding windows to be in the best spots at the best possible times on the best lakes that a lot of guys aren't taking advantage of.
Yeah, I'm in the we're complicating it too much, but I'm also not that smart to be able to put all that stuff in my little head. So I just got to make it as easy on myself as I can.
Who are your, like, if you were to pick some, I guess, angling heroes, or who do you like to watch the most? Who do you really respect and really listen to? Like, is there anyone where, like, if he says something, you're like, okay, that I'm writing that down. That's gold plated. Like, I'm not asking questions. I'm just rolling with it.
My favorite one was the 2016 Classic, and Jordan Lee won it at Conroe, and he had like that great big bag the last day. And he gets up on stage, he starts crying a little bit, and he's like, man, I just love catching fish. Like nothing else matters. He just loves catching fish. That one always stuck with me because I'm the same way. I just love catching them. It's just so much fun to me, and I'm changing my whole life to chase a largemouth and a smallmouth around the country, and I just love catching them. Like I can't ask for anything more. And I think that's what one stuck to me the most because I feel like he was kind of the same. He just anything else doesn't really matter to me right now. I just want to go fishing. I want to go catch them, and I want to go compete. So that was probably the biggest one that stuck to me. I always loved Aaron Martins. Obviously, He passed away, but he was always so dialed, so like smart with everything he does. And another one that stand out to me is like Tucker Smith, because obviously he's like Aaron Martin's protege, and you just like, I don't know Tucker very well, but like you just see him and he's just so dialed in, and he's quiet and he's sneaky, and he'd never think.
He's the guy that'll just beat your ass while apologizing.
Yeah, and you'd show up to the boat ramp in the morning, and if you never even know who he was, you'd be like, you wouldn't even have to worry about that guy kind of going through your head.
You'd be like, is this guy old? Like, did this guy just steal his dad's boat and truck? Like, do people know he's at the boat ramp right now?
And then what he's going to do is he's going to take your money, and then he's going to go away, and you won't even know about it.
Yeah.
So I think those are my couple that I've obviously enjoyed.
Jordan Lee to you is like a grizzled veteran, right? Like he's like do you consider Jay Lee one of the old guys? I'm asking. No, you think what?
No, I don't. I mean, maybe like the mid-pack guys. I feel like your older guys have been around for a long time, and done it. And but I feel like your older guys are the guys that kind of refuse to use live scope, or not refuse to use it, but refuse to get good with it kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Those are kind of your older guys that still want to just go beat the bank and throw their chatterbaits and crankbaits. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm all about it. But I just feel like every game evolves. And if you're not going to evolve with the game, then you got to ride the suck bus, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
Or
I've got you'll like this. So I've got a little shadow box back here, and it's got a vial of water. And when in 2018, as Jay Lee was rolling into the arena, I handed him an empty water bottle and said, fill this up with your live well water. This is as he's going into the arena. So I got it, and then I sealed it. And then I actually went to a Notary Public and had it certified with a stamp and everything. So I have a certified vial of live well water from the final day weigh-in when he won his back-to-back classics.
That's way to go, Matt. That one's a strange one to put on there, but way to go.
I mean, I think it's badass. The only problem is it's slowly evaporating. So it's been in there since the beginning of 2018. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's probably a little less than a quarter gone. So 8. So in 8, 16, 24. Yeah. So in another 24 years, it'll be dry.
Well, then what are you going to do with it? Just throw it away, or what's the deal?
I don't know. It'll be interesting. But as far as the schedule on the pro circuit, I guess your first one is going to be kind of fire by baptism. I'm not sure if you've looked at the weather forecast for Central Florida over the next week, Riley.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get to wear my flip-flops, which I'm really disappointed about, but we'll just put on our tennis shoes and our beanie and our 18 layers of clothes, and I guess go out there and pray.
Starting out at Leesburg, Florida, Harris Chain, February 6th to 8th, then Wheeler, Douglas, Eufaula in Oklahoma, Champlain, and then the championship on the Kissimmee Chain. So one of the things I noticed, not a big social media guy.
No, I need to get better at it, Matt. Honestly, I need to get better at it. I'm not good at it. I hate doing it.
Like you have this social media of like a 60-year-old guy. Like you're like, okay, I'll post a picture, but I ain't putting no caption. I'm not tagging anybody in it.
Yeah, I'm terrible at it, Matt. I'll be honest with you. And it's something I'm slowly trying to work on, but I'm not working on it hard enough to get it good. But it's definitely one of my goals to get a little bit better at it. But I mean, for a while, I didn't even.
Six posts.
My first post is the best one, Matt. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not very good at it, but we're trying to get better at it. I dropped my phone in Leech when we were there fishing the tournament, and I had to re-download all my apps on a new phone. And for like 2 months, I didn't even re-download social media. I had no Facebook, no TikTok, no Instagram. And I honestly liked that more than having the social media, but I feel like I got to have the social media to do this fishing deal.
Yeah. You mentioned one of the other things I wanted to highlight that you didn't. You mentioned like sponsorship. I don't see like a wrapped boat behind there. You haven't talked about any of that. Talk a little bit about like that kind of aspect of it. Do you have any partners? Do you work with any companies? Or you kind of said that you're a little bit of like a lone wolf in that area?
I'm pretty much just a lone wolf. I work a little bit with Power Rods. I use their rods all the time. I'd be about the only partner-ish that I have right now is pretty much just Power Rods. But everything else is just my biggest sponsor has been my landscaping company back at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you plan on starting one over there in the Grant, Alabama area based on the ChatGPT recommendation?
I think I'll go to Huntsville and do it.
Huntsville.
It's got a lot more people, but that's gonna be my plan. Hopefully, get that I've kind of got all the base routes set on it to get it started. I'm just kind of waiting for not snow and freezing cold conditions and a little bit of spring to kind of get that going right now.
Yeah, I actually have I got a buddy who's in the Army, medevac pilot, did like 3 tours all over, known him since high school, just saw him again. My buddy Nick Tony, he is in Huntsville now with a house. So when you get that started, I got a contact for you. We can hit up Nick. He travels a lot. So
Perfect.
maybe you've already got a house there. That's my only connection there in Huntsville.
Perfect. We'll get his grass cut for him, nice and clean.
Yeah. There's a couple people saying throw out your Instagram if you remember, if you even know what it is, your handle there. We'll just get it just rolling right now.
I think Facebook is Riley Nielsen, and then Instagram is Riley-NI. I think those are my handles. Let me double check that.
Yeah. Blake said you could probably make some money shoveling driveways right now.
It's so funny. I thought about it this weekend, but we never got enough snow to do it. We only got like a tiny skiff that never stuck to the concrete, only a little bit to the grass. So I probably should have went up to your neck of the woods and done it.
Oh, dude, you could still do it. The thing is, hopefully it'll start to melt today. Do you see like Jordan and Lucas and the Howells and Chris Lane and all them like rolling around Gunnersville when you're just out screwing around on like a Tuesday?
Yeah, I see them at the boat ramp, or I live really close to waterfront, and I feel like that's where everyone puts in. So you usually see them there at waterfront, or you just drive past them on the lake. And it's kind of cool to see those. What's really cool to me is like when I lived in Utah, when you saw a bass boat, you did everything you could to like pull up next to it on the freeway and see who the heck it was.
Flag them down.
There's like 10 of them in the state, you know what I mean? But then it's like every day I drive into town at Gunnersville or whatever, go run errands, and there's like I pass 10 bass boats every time doing it. It's like it's a different world back here, and it's kind of cool. And I went to the dentist yesterday, and they're like, they want to get my wisdom teeth out. And I'm like, oh, I can't. I gotta go out of town for a month, and then maybe when I get back I can. They're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, fishing tournaments. And they know everything about tournament fishing. That's so cool to me, where if I went to the dentist in Utah and they're like fishing tournaments, they're like, oh, okay, so you're a trout guy or you're out in the ocean, and I'm like,
you're commercial fisherman. Like, what are you netting?
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, close enough. That'll work.
Interesting. It's like that at Rayburn too. I love being with guys and when it's their first time down at Rayburn, and you go to like the stump, and then you got the tackle addict right next to it, and then you're like driving around, and every single hotel, every single parking lot is like designed to get a freaking bass boat in and out. You pull up to get gas, there's 4 bass boats all around you. It's just like a way of life down there. And I think there's some places I know, in Florida that are like that, but when it's bass specific, I'm not trying to leave anybody out, but bass specific, that Gunnersville area and East Texas are, in my opinion, like the 2 bass tournament boat areas where like that's the thing.
I totally agree. It's been an eye opener for me, and I'm slowly starting to get used to it. That's not as big of a deal to me anymore, but it's pretty awesome to live around an area that's so supported by it, because I mean, I feel like that's Gunnersville lives off bass fishermen. That's what the revenue lives off of for a majority of it. So it's kind of cool and they just treat you so well. You go to the gas station and put gas in your boat or whatnot, and you got the old 60-year-old timer getting out of his single cab Ford pickup wanting to know how the bite is and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to cover in this before I let you go? I know I've got some weird ad pop-ups, not like interrupting the show or anything on that. That's why I haven't ran any BTL ads here. I don't want to hit you guys with like the double ads. I'll figure out how to like click that off for tomorrow. So thanks for bearing with it on that. But like I said, I like getting to know new anglers, kind of their stories, where they're coming from. And you're kind of seems like you got really level head on your shoulders. You obviously, like, you haven't had a sucky tournament yet. You've had like non-top 10s, but you haven't had, it's hard not to suck. I don't think people understand, like, a lot of people that are on BTL and all that, like, you're on these shows is because you're an abnormality. You don't suck. You've accomplished things like that. But like 90% of guys like tank quite regularly. And it's hard to be consistent. It's the hardest thing.
It's hard. I just think the biggest thing that I've learned this year to stay consistent is have an unbelievably open mind in the tournament. And when you're absolutely sucking out there, just do not quit. Just like change your mindset a little bit when you're in the tournament. Like, okay, let's just get one right now. Like, what can we do to go get one? And then once you get one, okay, what can we do to go get another one? And just always keep your eyes open and just keep a super level head and open mind and have a positive attitude when you're out there on the lake, because it's really easy to start dogging yourself and sucking, because a lot of the tournaments this year, like, it might look good on paper, Matt, but I got my teeth kicked in most of the day, and then I just kind of rallied at, maybe it was a 30-minute rally, maybe it was a 2-hour rally, but having that open mind and having a positive attitude to keep you into it. Because my opinion is like, first of all, when you get to a sucky tournament, like for example, at the Harris Chain, everyone knows it's going to be hard. And I just feel like you beat half of the field already being positive about it and never quitting and understanding it's going to be hard. So don't change your mindset and just be open-minded about it. So I think that's been the biggest thing to me. And I think it helps a lot to have a network. I'm very lucky to have a couple of guys that I travel with from Colorado that I can trust absolutely 100%. And we help each other a lot in the tournaments. Like, hey man, I'm catching them doing this. And like, we're so trustworthy of ourselves. We'll like give each other waypoints. Like, hey man, I got this spot over here, but you're more than welcome to come, and vice versa. And I think having a network that's been a big success for me this year, to kind of break down these lakes that we've never been to in our 3 days of practice. That's been a big help for me. I'm just going to go with positive attitude. Always have a positive attitude when you're out there fishing, even if it's terrible. Continue to have a positive attitude and never quit until you have to pick your trolling motor up and go to weigh-in. Don't ever go in early. Because it's easy to go in early. You can, even if you suck, you can still go suck at the house and later and drown your sorrows, but don't ever go in early, because you just never know.
I've done that one time in my life out of spite, and I'm not gonna lie, it was worth it. I do not regret it. It was more out of like protest over some bass rulings that I had a bad attitude. Bass had changed some stuff. It went even worse during the week. And it was the only time ever in hundreds of tournaments that I have said, screw this. And I did it, and it felt amazing. And I was back at the house by 2 p.m. I slam dunked that little bobber into the net. The guy's like, everything okay? And I said, just lovely. And then spun around. Put her on the trainer. Are there any minnow secrets left?
I just think it's all, my biggest thing I've learned on minnows is presentation is the most important thing. Each lake's a little bit different. No, there's probably no minnow secrets left. I feel like there's this new thing coming out of Japan where they like, I don't know, pull it, whatever the heck that means. I haven't figured that out yet, but I still think a minnow is, I mean, it's not as productive as it was, but if you can continue to always make good casts and good presentations, you're going to beat most of the guys if you can present that bait properly 100% of the time. That's the biggest thing I've learned on Gunnersville. Your splash is a big deal. If they hear the splash, they freak out. I think it's because they're so smart. 2, you got to throw it past them, and it feels like all the time they change on the size of the minnow and how fast they want it going. But if you can, another thing I've learned too is if you can get it to consistently roll like this the whole time, your percentage goes up. But you start shaking the rod just a hair different when they start falling, your roll changes, and you maybe lose your bite percentage. But what I do is each minnow rolls different. I don't even really throw Sakamatas, to be honest with you. I just throw freeloaders. I just throw freeloaders and mooches. That's been my favorite minnows. But you throw them next to your boat, and you can kind of get them to roll with however you want to do it. But each minnow rolls different, so you got to like kind of shake that rod to get the right roll consistently. But I've never been a big Sakamata guy. I got a million of them in this boat, but I don't hardly throw them very much. I'm just a freeloader and mooch throwing guy.
You like the new big sizes?
I don't know. I haven't really thrown them. I threw the 6.5 one day. Honestly, I didn't love it. I couldn't get it to roll consistently, kind of what we were just talking about. But I don't know if that was because I had it on a 1/4 ounce head and just didn't roll right. I got a bunch of them. Maybe an 1/8 ounce or 3/8 ounce is better for them. I haven't played around with them. But
3/16 or 3/8? You mean
3/8? I don't throw 3/16. I only do 1/8, quarter, and 3/8.
What's wrong? What's wrong with 3/16? That's like all I throw.
That's a big number for me, Matt. I can't do that kind of math.
Is that because that's what everyone throws?
No, it's just I always generally my go-to is a quarter, and then I keep it simple, Matt. I throw 3 different jig heads, and I throw 2 different colors. When it comes to all lures, I either throw a green pumpkin or a shad. I don't do this black and blue and June bug and all this stuff. I just keep it so simple in my boat, and either they're going to bite my green pumpkin or they're not, and we'll just go back to the house if they're not, I guess.
Yeah. Do you like have a billion different types of minnow jig heads, or have you settled on like this is what
Guppies.
I throw? Really?
Yeah, that's the only one I throw.
So
I've
you're
tried
not
a bunch
big
of other
on
ones.
like the ball head with the 90-degree and all that stuff. Like, I mean,
I catch so many fish on a guppy head. I loop knot it, and it works so well for me. So why change? Why do it?
and you're shaking that and getting it to roll. You're shaking the guppy head like the guys are shaking the Horizon heads and the Veravos and all that.
Mm-hmm. If I loop knot it, it rolls just fine.
Double loop knot or just just a single Rapala loop knot?
Single. Call it whatever.
And you don't break them off on that.
No, but you got to retie. Like if you catch a big one, you got to retie it. You got to retie it a lot more than you would like a Palomar knot or any other fancy knots.
Right. I'm
but,
even overthinking minnow fishing. God, I'm so screwed.
You're not. That's just how I roll, Matt. Like if I had all kinds of fancy lures and crickets,
I've got 17 different types of jig heads out there. I went to Japan, came back with 21 different minnows.
Yeah, that's just not me. I just keep my freeloaders and I keep my mooches, and if either they're going to eat it, if they're not going to eat it, then I got to go figure out another way to catch them.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I've enjoyed it. I appreciate you coming on BTL and telling your story. And if I see you at the Opens, I don't know how many will be there at Rayburn. Hopefully the weather is nice enough, like where we have the meeting in the pavilion where we can like actually like be standing outside and not like huddled up like a flock of pigeons, like while we do it. And we get 3 full days in, and hopefully you get through Florida and don't get hit in the head by all the iguanas and stuff that are falling out of the trees, because it's going to be about 20 degrees when you get there.
It's I appreciate it, Matt. I appreciate letting me have me on. I've always loved watching your shows, driving from Utah to freaking Texas in my 30-hour drive. It gives me something to do. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. I had one of the guys come up last year and goes, I've been watching or listening to you since I was 8. And I was like, oh my God, don't tell me that.
I used to listen
through, kick everyone's ass in 1 year. Now he's on the Elite Series.
I used to love listening to your Hallman Open like recaps when I'm out there landscaping, pulling weeds and mowing lawns. That was always my favorites too, to listen to that stuff.
Yeah, we're bringing back recaps for the Opens.
Cool.
I
love watching them.
Those were one of the cool features. It just works so good with Hallman because he just resonated so well with the people, and he always did the exact opposite of what I did. And he was like, when that happened, that I was still a little bit green in the Opens then, and he was a veteran who had already been and won tour events, and he was a power fisherman and I was a finesse guy, and we would get back to the house and he would be like, I'm running up as far as I can up the dam river and flipping these willows, and I'd be like, well, I'm drop shotting the dam. And I love the talks we'd have there. He would always be like, dude, like, do you, like, don't worry about what I'm doing, don't worry about, like, because we would share a lot of information. I'll be like, well, you think I'm like, man? He'd be like, no. He'd be like, if I was as confident as you were, he's like, I'd be down there doing the same thing you are with an eco and a drop shot and stuff. So I get to see him several times a year at OU games, spend New Year's with him and stuff. He's doing great, but definitely not ready to make a BTL return yet. I don't know if he ever will be. I mean, he's not like bitter towards it. He's just like, not my life anymore.
I got you. I love the confidence deal. Like that's probably the biggest thing my dad's taught me about tournament fishing is you have to fish confidently. There is literally nothing worse in life than fishing a tournament without confidence. Like you will not fish properly. And so you have to go into it full confidence. And if you don't love what you're doing, pick up your trolling motor and go. Just go and go do something that you're confident in, because it's a lot easier to fish confidently than it is to fish not confidently. You know that. And so just fish with confidence.
What is your prediction on like you and your dad? So obviously it sounds like a little bit different different styles will be at play in this Opens. Looking at that Open schedule, like right now, if you look back at this at the end of the year, like does he get you in a couple of them, or do you just dominate him, or you think you'll be surprised like at how the old school like can get the job done still?
I don't know. I mean, my old man's old school. And a lot of times he kicks
Benny Brower old school.
Like he throws a crankbait, he throws a spinnerbait, and he throws a jig.
Okay, that's old school.
So, and I've taken him out. Like even I was at the St. Lawrence for a couple days before I went to Champlain, and he flew out and he drug a freaking Carolina rig behind the boat while I'm out there throwing it.
He probably smoked him too.
And he kicked me.
Yeah,
like, he kicked
I had
my
a
tail.
co-angler smoke me on a sea rig one time on the St. Lawrence. Like had 3 for 11 before I even had a bite, and I was like, my God.
Yeah, like I'm just out there trying to get a bite, and then all of a sudden I hear some ruffle in the back of the boat, and I'm like, oh, he's got another one. Oh, great. So I don't know. I think the nice thing about it is like for Rayburn, everyone's going to be out there. Most of the guys are going to be out there live scoping with the low water, but he'll just be on the bank throwing his crankbait and his spinnerbait. And honestly, I would not be surprised if he crushes them. I really wouldn't be if he doesn't. But he doesn't also know mapping, so it's very possible he could tear off a lower unit too, being 9 foot low. Surely. It's gonna be like Matt. It's gonna be
surely
like
he knows mapping well enough to be like, you gotta at least hook him up with like some water level offsets and be like, hey, Pops, if you're around orange or red, don't go through that.
That's exactly. It's gonna be the day before practice. Be like, do not go through red. Do not go through orange. Driving fast. You need to shut her down.
And if you're more than 5 miles from the dam and you're in the middle of the lake on pad, something bad is about to happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be that.
The crazy thing is, I went out there when it was 9 foot low before the off limits, and the place looks like the surface of the damn moon. It's freaking wild how low it is.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I'm excited to go see it, but I'm kind of scared to go drive around on it, to be honest. Once you get past Veach, I think is when it starts
there was a
sketchy.
little pucker factor just in even going across the lake, like in areas like, I was looking at some of my trails from the past years there, and I was like, oh, cool. Like I just drove over like all of that I didn't even, like just making like little cuts around points and stuff where you don't even think about it. And you're like, wait a second. Those are like large trees that were like right under me that I never even knew.
It's going to be iffy. I'm excited though. I'm so excited to get to go out there and go fishing and see what the heck happens. I'm also, honestly, as much as I love scoping, honestly, I love doing it. I'm pretty dang excited to go out there and go fishing without it, because I've been spending a lot of time out here on Gunnersville with it completely off and just having like a map and side scan up front, and just honestly, it's pretty relaxing. You never realize what you miss scenery-wise and wildlife-wise, flying around, and the scenery you miss when you have your head so stuck in that screen chasing around things. I'm pretty excited just to go out there and go fishing and throw my cricket around and hope I catch one.
Well, one of the other things that I appreciated about you was the T-shirt with the Bass sticker on it. I've done that for the last 6 years, where I pin the little Bass logo. Yeah. Until I have a sponsor that says, we're not paying you unless you wear a jersey, I'll continue with the safety pin Bass patch. I love it. It's so much easier. It's so much more comfortable to me. And now it actually, like I work with AFCO, sponsored by AFCO, show sponsored by AFCO. I mean, that's like better, just a great advertisement for AFCO. You get the AFCO shirt on, you throw the patch on. If I ever do have to get a jersey, I've decided I'm going to have the Bass patch. It's going to actually be sublimated on, but I'm also going to sublimate safety pins in there to still make it look like it's
the deal. You throw I don't even have one of the pins. I just throw my fish in the bump tanks, and then the one lady that asked for your boat number hands me a little sticker to throw on there, I
got the really like the I don't know, what is that? Like the knitted, it's not knitted, the stitched emblem, little deal, and then it just stays in the boat. Although typically if I have like a bad end of the year, that last one will never make it back in the boat. So I have to get a new one. I chuck that out because it's bad luck. You superstitious guy? Do you carry like
very?
Really? What do you carry in your boat?
I got to wear the right hat. and then I have to shave. I've learned that new one. I have to shave my face.
Like the whole face. Like, will the stash be gone?
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the Champlain tournament with the stash and the EQ, and that was a bad deal for me. So after that, it's been gone. And then Okeechobee, this is going to kind of sound weird, but I'd always go get a nice coffee from McDonald's, and I didn't get an Okeechobee, so we might need to go throw that one into the loop too. A nice coffee from McDonald's before the Derby.
All right. I do a duck decoy because Rojas does a duck decoy, and then I found one in Florida a couple years ago. So I've gone back and forth, Riley, over the last 3 or 4 years, because I've had like really close years, and then I've had years that I sucked, and then I was like, okay, I don't need to do this, but then I don't do it, and then I suck even more. And so like I've come full circle, and I'm back on the superstition bandwagon, which all the people who are like, oh, that means you don't have confidence. No, it worked different strokes for different folks. It works. But I've got the duck. It's a decoy that I found in the reeds in Florida. So that stays in the back of the boat. Then I've got I mean, this is gross, but it's true. So like when I was like 15, it was like a summer tournament, and I had a yellow Team Daiwa hat, and I had been really annoying my team partner, who was like 20 years. Anyway, he peed in the hat while I jumped in, and then I wore the hat the rest of the day, and I won that tournament. So I still have that hat.
That's kind of gross.
It's super gross, but so that's still in there. This sounds even weirder, but it's true. My mom gave me some Mardi Gras fishing beads, so it's like beads, and then like little jumping fish on it. She got them at the Bassmaster Classic. She didn't, and so I have those that stay in there. And then I do a fishy 5 before, like, even if I don't have a partner now. So like when you get in, deep breath, calm you down. Now you're in game mode. Hand in the water, splash it up, get a little, like kind of like the powder, like the LeBron. I've been doing this for years though. Get a little water out, run it through the hair, on the face a little bit from the lake, kind of become one with it, then turn. I don't have a partner anymore. It's single, boom, boom, boom. So I used to do like the fishy 5 for good luck. So that was the 5. So I'd turn to the team partner. I do the fishy 5, then back one more time in the water, tighten the hat down. I'm good to go.
Yeah, that's taking superstitious to the next level.
Yeah, always have to have gushers in the boat.
Gushers?
Gush, like like the little packs of gushers. So like had a team tournament with my buddy Juice one time. We racked 24 pounds even in 10 minutes on grand to win a boat. So ever since then, like the gushers ends up in the boat every single time.
Okay.
I mean, I could keep going, but I feel like not only you are judging me, but yeah, sounds really weird when Penger lists them all together in a row. It really does. Sounds great. So this is not all in a row. This is like a lot of these things you don't even notice. Like I have all the superstitious items like in a bag, right? That like I know I've got the stuff with me, and then the only thing like ritual that you get to see is the fishy 5 and the hair and stuff like that.
It's almost getting to the point where you need like a checklist in the morning with all.
No, I remember it all.
That one's done. That one's done. That one's done.
Yeah, never turn on your live wells before. Like, never have I have all my cull bubbles, all that stuff like under my seat, like organized. But the worst thing you could do is like turn your live wells on when you get to a spot, or have like number 1 in the live well waiting for you to clip it onto the fish. Like you can't do that because that's assuming that you're going to catch one. Like I have numerous times over the past couple of years, I've like done that, not doing the superstitions, and then end up emptying my live wells and putting my cull bubble back in where I keep them, and then whack, 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 whack.
I'm not following that.
Team tournaments never have the net out until you need it on the first one. Like if you get to your first spot and pull your net out, you're screwed for the day. That's like catching one on the first cast, which you never catch one on the first cast either. So like always have your net in a very hard to reach, like a spot that you don't want. And then that first fish of the morning, get the net. Where's the net? I don't know where the net. That's underneath there. I can't get the net out. It's stuck. That great start to the day. Like I want chaos with an unreachable net on the first fish in a team tournament. That is the best luck you could have.
Okay. I haven't tried those ones yet, so I usually get the net out. It's handy. That's funny.
Anyway. Yeah. Probably shouldn't have shared that, but I did. So, all right, Riley. On that note, anything else you want to get in here before I let you go?
I think I'm good, Matt. I just appreciate you having me on. I love the opportunity, and look forward to hanging out with you maybe at Rayburn or Grand or whatever the heck happens this year.
All right. See ya.
All right. See you, Matt.
Riley Nielsen. It's a good show. Yeah. I mean, do you really think that's – I agree. Fishing is mental. That's why KVD's slogan is it's all about the attitude and, never give up and all that stuff. I mean, it sounds, like you said, when I mentioned it sounds way worse. What would it take for you to get rid of all of them and see if you do better this year? I got rid of all of them last year. I didn't do any of them last year. Or 2 years ago. The last 2 years, I haven't, like when I started, it was very bad. Like you can actually see if you go back when I recorded all of my opens, if you watch the takeoffs, you can see me doing all of this stuff and all that. But the last couple of years, I've really tried to take the approach of, you can't rely on meaningless superstitions to carry you to success. And I've had by far the worst 2 years of my opens. I don't wear the hat. I've never worn the hat since then. It just sits in a bag in my boat. I don't wear it. I never have worn it on that. I don't really have I wouldn't call them mental hurters. I'll be more impressed now anytime Matt gets a limit. So when I was like full bore on all of this stuff, I don't know if there's anyone that can prove that there's been a longer one. This was 19, 20, 21, that time of the year. I had a 26-day Bassmaster Open limit streak. 26 days in a row, I came in with 5 fish. So obviously something worked on it. Maybe we'll get back to it. Maybe I'm just getting senile. All right, that's what we got for today. We got a good show with Frank tomorrow. If you guys didn't get a chance, yesterday we tried something new. We had Austin Cranford live from the water. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't watched it. There is a ton of gold in this episode. Like if you want to see what it is actually like to get out and chase these big fish when it's cold, and you're used to just seeing a Facebook or a 5-minute video or an Instagram picture, and you're like, oh, you just go out when it's cold and the giants are out there. This is an accurate depiction of what it is like hunting. I don't want to give it away, but there are some pretty big ones that come into the boat. It's fantastic. So that's all we got for today. Same time, same place. Tomorrow we will talk to everybody then. Later.